Anytime you beg another man to set you free, you'll never be free. Freedom is something that you have to do for yourself.
Okay, so yesterday morning in London, there was a brief hearing between BTC Core and Craig Wright. So what's happening here is they're trying to have him held in contempt. So there's going to be potentially a follow-up hearing to this one that happens on the 18th and 19th of December. And that may or may not happen. There's an opportunity here where Craig has, I believe, 21 days to submit some more evidence to see if he can avoid that hearing. And really, I mean, what was happening here is they want to say that because Craig is acting in contempt by bringing forth the passing off claim, that the passing off claim should be dismissed. So currently there's a stay in place, so that case is kind of on hold now, pending whatever action is taken on this alleged contempt of court. And there's a few things that they said he has done to put himself in contempt. There's something about him removing the notice that he was forced to put up on his social media pages. And some of the wording in the passing off claim. So the patent attorney, David Pierce, he put on his Twitter page two little snapshots. I'll put them on screen here. It's sort of just that in the wording of the injunction that was placed on Craig Wright, it said that he couldn't bring forth any lawsuits stating that he has goodwill in Bitcoin. And it is kind of the wording that he used in his passing off claim. But when this was mentioned yesterday, he said that he had no intention of being... he had no intention to be in contempt, and that if it was deemed that the words that he had used were a breach of the injunction that put him in contempt, that he would change the wording of it. So I'm curious to see if the court does deem that that wording is a contempt of the courts and it's a violation of the injunction that was put on him, that he may be able to just change the wording on that and kind of just move on. So like they'd probably just force him to change the wording and then probably proceed with the passing off case. But I feel like there's got to be a distinct, I don't know, I almost say fear on the BTC Core side that they really don't want this case to be heard. So they're probably really going to try hard to get him held in contempt to avoid having this passing off case heard. Because, I mean, even if they are successful in winning the passing off case, it's going to bring a lot of attention to the fact that BTC does not follow the white paper, and it doesn't fulfill the original intentions that Satoshi Nakamoto laid out for what Bitcoin is supposed to be, which is peer-to-peer electronic cash that can serve as micropayments. I mean, we saw the other day when Memento Mori was being minted that, I mean, the transaction fee spiked to like $70 US. You're not doing micropayments when people are using the BTC network. And I mean, even when the fees are low, they're still like, I don't know, 30, 50 cents usually. That's when they're really low. I mean, at that point, it's better just to use your debit card, use cash. kind of rules out the function or the purpose of what Bitcoin was supposed to be, right? So they don't really want this case to be heard. But I'm curious here as to whether or not they could even achieve this, because if Craig Wright did open up his passing off case into a class action lawsuit, then I'm uncertain at that point whether Craig being in contempt would even stop it. Because let's say I want to join this claim and me and 150 other people decide to join this claim. If Craig is in contempt by bringing this case forward, but there's 150 other people attached to the claim with him, I'm uncertain at that point whether or not him being held in contempt would be grounds to have the case thrown out, because there's 150 other people making the claim as well. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out. I have requested to get access to this hearing from the courts, so I emailed the courts and asked if I could get a stream link to watch this hearing on the 18th or the 19th. If it does happen, I mean, the judge has given them 21 days to submit some evidence, which may make the hearing unnecessary, really. So if he can amend his claim in such a way or provide evidence that I think the Twitter page that used to be Dr. Stephen Wright, or Dr. Craig Stephen Wright, they apparently removed the notice stating that he was not Satoshi Nakamoto early, but he's not in control of that. So if he can provide some sort of documentation of that, then I mean, that's kind of irrelevant at that point. And I think it was only like a week early that it was removed. Something fairly insignificant, and it had been up for months, so I feel like that's kind of, I mean, it might be a violation of the court order, but if it's not his page and it's not him who did it, then how are they going to punish him for that? I don't know. But I'm curious to know if, again, I'm not a legal expert by any means, but I'm really curious to see if he is only one of 150 people making the claim that BTC is a passing off fraud, or more than that. I feel like him being held in contempt for violating the injunction in the COPA versus Wright ruling is not going to be grounds to have the case thrown out. It may just be enough to have his name removed from the list of claimants. But then at that point, I don't know if he can represent the claimants. I'm uncertain of the legality there. I would suspect that he probably could not represent the claimants. And in that case, the claimants will need legal representation. But again, it seemed like when Craig was responding again, I was not able to watch the hearing yesterday. I'm just getting this information secondhand from the few people who reported on it yesterday, a few people who were there. It seemed as though he said that he could just amend the wording in his claim and essentially just kind of wiggle out of anything he may have done wrong. So hopefully that's the case, because I really would like that case to be heard. And if it's not, if that isn't how things go, if he is deemed to be in contempt of court, hopefully the other people being added to the passing off claim will be enough to keep that case going. But again, I don't know how the specifics of the law work in that sense, so we'll just have to wait and see. I'm definitely going to do some videos covering that, and hopefully I'll have access to watch it through a stream link from the courts, so we'll have to wait and see.